Hey guys, Form 3s, welcome back to our weekly class. Alright, for this week, we will not learn anything new yet because I've decided to delay for one more week. We will do a bit of revision on our last week's lesson, which is our reactivity of metals with oxygen, carbon, and hydrogen. Do you still remember the one? Okay, oxygen is the fire, the flame color part. How big is the flame? And then the carbon and hydrogen is the Rampas wife story. Okay, if you still remember. Alright, so let's look at this. Let's refresh a little bit. How do you memorize this reactivity series? Is kalau nak kahwin mesti ada zebra fantastic supaya perkahwinan Jun. Alright, so the higher you go, the more reactive it is, the more lang zai it is. Okay, when you're very lang zai, you're very reactive because a lot of girls want to react with you. Okay, if it makes sense. Okay, so the first experiment, do you still remember? We look at oxygen. Okay, still remember the function of the potassium manganate, which is this part, is to produce oxygen. Okay, and then you need to remember all the observations. Magnesium will burn very brightly. Okay, aluminium, okay, brightly. Zinc, slowly. Iron, glow. Iron and lead will only glow. Okay, let me show you pictures and hopefully I'll show you some videos. Okay, this is how magnesium burns. Okay, very dangerous to do this experiment really, because even though it doesn't burn you, the bright light alone can blind you if you look at it with your naked eyes. Alright, so basically it looks like this. When you burn magnesium very quickly, in few seconds this thing will catch on fire and will produce a very bright white light. Okay, so let me show you some video. Okay, alright, so this is the video. Okay, so they didn't do much. Okay, the first experiment they did magnesium. Can you see? It just cooked very quickly. Okay, super quickly with magnesium. And then I think it's magnesium to the experiment. You can see very bright light. It's super bright. Okay, and then I think they repeated it with zinc. Okay, repeated it with zinc. So can you see? It's not as fast as magnesium. Magnesium burns very quickly. Take a while. 3 seconds to 2 minutes. So can you see? Burn, but the light is not as bright. You don't see other zebra, so it's 2 species lower than magnesium. That's why it's not that reactive. Okay, and then I think the experiment is repeated with lead. Okay, lead is even lower. Lead is the lowest among the 5. So can you see it only glows? Okay, it only glows. There's no fire, there's no flame, no light. It only glows. So very small. Okay, that's why the experiment is like this. Okay, I hope it makes sense. Yeah, I hope this video makes sense. Okay, because I couldn't find an experiment that shows all 5. Okay, it's very time consuming to do this experiment actually, because you have to reset the thing every time. Alright, so what does this mean? So if you arrange them by reactivity, okay, magnesium is the highest because it's at 4th place. So why is lead so slow? Because it is at 9th place. Okay, I still remember during my time we tried burning copper. It's the lowest in the reactivity series. It's so slow. After burning for like 3 minutes straight with Bunsen burner, the teacher told us to stop because it was wasting gas. Okay, because copper is a very good metal. Okay, not as good as gold and silver, that's stable, but still very good. Okay, magnesium, super quick. You just burn it like for 10 seconds, this thing will start glowing. Okay, will produce flame. Okay, I hope it makes sense. Alright, and then we come to the carbon and hydrogen experiment. Do you still remember it's carbon and hydrogen? Okay, carbon is above zinc, means carbon can rampas zinc punya wife because carbon is more lang zai. Okay, and then hydrogen is not as lang zai as zinc, so this hydrogen cannot rampas the oxygen of zinc, the wife of zinc. Okay, I hope this makes sense. Okay, so I think there's an experiment here I can show you. A displacement experiment, yeah. Okay, they didn't do much, they only use copper. They only use copper oxide.
The reaction reverses.
Okay, let me show you
What's happening
this.
to the copper?
Okay, so they put copper
Is passed over the
oxide
copper
and
oxide.
I think they put it with carbon.
A mixture of
Okay,
hydrogen
they do
and air
two
is
cases here lah.
explosive, but
Okay, so
once
this
all
is
the
the
air has been
hydrogen
pushed
one.
out
Okay,
of the tube,
hydrogen is
it's
still
safe to
higher than
burn off the
carbon,
excess hydrogen.
still higher than copper, sorry.
It burns so
So they
cleanly
put
that it's
copper,
hard to see the flame.
ACU, copper. So they pass hydrogen gas through
Heat the
extract.
copper
Sorry, let me show
oxide
you the
in this
sound.
atmosphere of
Okay,
hydrogen,
so as you
and
can
it quickly
see,
changes
after
colour.
when it burns, can you
Hydrogen
see
reacts
copper
with
starts
oxygen in the
changing
copper
back
oxide
into its
to form
original color?
water.
Copper is brown.
Copper
Okay,
metal
reddish
is
brown.
left behind.
Okay, so in Mandarin we call it tong. So 同色. So tong is this
While the
color,
copper
bronze
oxide
color.
is reduced,
So can you see?
the hydrogen is
Ignore the equation. I'll
oxidized.
explain this later. Okay, because it's chemical equation.
But as soon
Okay,
as the
see, is there
hydrogen and
anything?
heat are
This is
removed,
with carbon.
heat in a boiling
This is with
tube.
carbon powder. Okay, so can you see it glows and then it changes back into brown.
Carbon reacts with oxygen
still
in the
hot.
copper oxide, and solid copper
Okay, it
forms.
changes into brown. Okay, that's the carbon powder, and can you see some brown?
Carbon is more
powder on it?
reactive than copper.
Okay, okay.
It's
so let
able
me
to
explain.
remove the
Can you see the
oxygen and
carbon
form
here? Okay,
carbon
so
dioxide.
let me explain. So let's go down to this. Okay, copper is here. Copper is very not lang zai. Okay, super ugly because it's at the fourth most bottom place. Okay, because it's very short. Okay, so now imagine copper oxide. Okay, okay. In the experiment just now, copper oxide is black. Okay, you don't need to know this. You need to memorize this. Okay, so when I add carbon, carbon is taller. Carbon is more lang zai. So carbon will take away the oxygen. Okay, so you get left over with copper and carbon dioxide. Okay, of course you can't see carbon dioxide. Okay, because carbon dioxide is gas. So you see copper. So copper is brown. Okay, like the copper wire, the wire color is copper. So that's why you see it changes from black. Okay, this is brown. That's why you see it changes from black to brown. So you might say, sir, why when the fella pour the powder, you can still see black color? Because there are some leftover carbon. They didn't finish the reaction. Some carbon is still left over. But you can see it start changes from black to brown. Okay, means the copper punya wife is getting taken away. Okay, so same experiment with copper oxide and hydrogen. Okay, so same thing here again. Hydrogen is more like hydrogen is taller, so hydrogen will take away the wife. So you get left over with copper and hydrogen dioxide, which is water lah. Okay, did you see water there? Not really, but you can see some water vapor there. Okay, should be lah. Okay, if it's not, then it's too hot. Okay, so it changes, same thing again, from black to brown. Okay, means it's being robust by the carbon and hydrogen. They did two experiments. Okay, I tried searching for a lot of experiments, but unfortunately they didn't do too much. Okay, they only did it with copper. So why copper, you might ask? Because copper is very low, it's very not lang zai in the list. That's why the reaction is very fast. Okay, if you put iron, because iron and hydrogen is very near, one place only, you are not much lang zai than me, I'm not much uglier than you, the reaction is going to be very slow because they're almost the same power. Okay, it's going to be very slow. Okay, so carbon and zinc you don't see much also because it's very slow. Okay, that's why they use copper, easiest to show. Why don't they use gold or silver? Well, for obvious reasons, it's because it's very expensive. All right, I hope this makes sense. Okay, I hope this makes sense. All right, so there's not much to talk about here. Okay, this is more of a revision video because I feel that there's a need for me to repeat this again so that you can understand. Okay, to show you some pictures. Okay, because this is chemistry stuff, it may not make sense to you. All right, so there's not much to talk about here. Okay, at the end of the day, this is all you need to memorize. Okay, carbon is higher than zinc, hydrogen is lower than zinc. Okay, that would be it. Okay, so that's it for me this week. Okay, supposedly this part is separated into two videos. Okay, but I decided to finish the whole lesson last week so that you can look at the pictures this week. Okay, so again, if you have any question, feel free to post it down the group or WhatsApp me in the group or WhatsApp me personally. Okay, very glad enough to answer you. All right, that's it for me this week. Okay, have a good week, and hope we can see each other soon. All right, bye bye.